So, hey, Romeo and Juliet. Well, the reason that I wanted to do this one for you guys is I mean, it's a pretty big deal, right? Romeo and Juliet. Most schools around the nation, like almost every other school, does it in 9th grade. So if you know the story, great. If you don't know the story, which probably a lot of you know, maybe, oh yeah, there's a guy named Romeo, a lady named Juliet. I want to tell you the story, probably in Dr. Jones's version. So it's a 2-hour play. I'm going to do it in 40 minutes. We can do this. All right. Here's what's different about Romeo and Juliet. It was written in 1595 by Shakespeare, and I'm going to make my screen bigger here in a second. But I wanted to show you the prologue, if you can see the prologue there. 1595. So he's writing in 16th century English, but it's also Shakespeare English, so it's even a little different than the normal person. And I'm not going to read the play to you except for the first 16 lines, because in this one, he literally, he tells you the plot of the play. He even gives away the ending in the first 16 lines. So people are showing up, they're paying their money, they're going out there, they're sitting in or standing, as the case may be. And the narrator comes out and says, all right, let me tell you the entire plot in the first 16 lines. And he says this. And here's what I do. I want to read it. I want to talk about the last 3 lines for a second. I'm going to tell you the story, and then we're going to come back to this to prove to you that he really did tell us what happened. He says this: 2 households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these 2 foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. I want to concentrate on the last 3 lines, because what he just said was this: our play that you're about to watch is going to take 2 hours. And if you listen carefully, that's that second line at the bottom, the penultimate line. If you listen carefully, then we get to the last line. He says, if you listen carefully, what you just missed in this prologue, you're going to understand if we do our jobs. I mean, he's saying that like right there on the prologue. All right. We're going to come back to that in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, Romeo and Juliet in about 40 minutes, Dr. Jones's version. It goes like this. Many moons ago, actually 1595, many moons ago, the city of Verona, it's not very big, it's probably about the size of Mustangs, maybe 20,000 people. There are 2 families that are rivals. You have the Montagues and the Capulets. And they would be millionaires if we were looking at our times. I mean, they're into big, well, we just say their families are very well to do. But these families, they hate each other. I mean, Daddy Capulet and Daddy Montague, they're rivals, and they hate each other, and they talk smack about each other. And their wives, oh my goodness, Lady Montague and Lady Capulet, oh, they're always talking about each other. Terrible, terrible things. And not only are the adults, but the kids. And when I say the kids, we're talking about teenagers. Most of these teenagers I'm talking about are 12, 13, 14 years old, 15 years old max. And they are always squabbling and, well, trying to kill each other, you'll see. And then even like the servants of the 2 families are always talking smack with each other. In fact, that's how we're going to start this story. Walking down the road, we have 2 servants from the Capulets, the Capulet family. The 2 servants are walking down the road. And so this particular road is the one that basically divides the line between the Capulet side of the city and the Montague side of the city. Coming up the road are 2 servants that represent the Montagues, and they're going to pass each other in the road. And much like, you and your absolute hated #1 enemy, when you're passing each other in the hall during passing period here at school, and you give each other the look like, ooh, I'm going to kill you. That's what happens. These 4 guys, they're kind of giving each other the stink eye, except then one of them goes way out of bounds and does the following. I'd like to apologize now for the crudity of this gesture. He bites his thumb. I know you're like, so? Oh, no, that's a big deal. That's like, I mean, that's almost as bad as, saying the F word and talking about somebody's mama. I mean, it is a bad deal to bite your thumb at somebody. And so one of the Capulets turns to the Montague and he goes, hey, did you just bite your thumb at me, sir? And the thumb biter goes, oh, sir, I may have bitten my thumb, sir, but I didn't bite my thumb at you, sir. And the first guy goes, no, sir, I'm pretty sure, sir, that you bit your thumb at me, sir. And if you did so, sir, we're about to throw down. And people draw swords because, by the way, everybody carries a sword. So we're going to get ourselves a four-way fight. No, this is not good. Enter Mercutio. Mercutio is from the Montague side. Mercutio is the poster child for ADHD. He is the center of attention wherever he goes. Just ask him, he'll tell you. Mercutio walks into the middle of the street fight and goes, what's going on, guys? I see we're having a fight. Can I join in? So he pulls out his sword, and now it's 3 versus 2. In walks Tybalt Capulet. Tybalt Capulet walks in, goes up, 3 versus 2. That's not fair. Tybalt pulls out his sword. Now we have 6 people trying to kill each other. A little stabby, a little pokey, a little cutty. And it looks like this whole, the fight circle, the crowd, of Verona, they start forming a fight. And so you guys know what I'm talking about. In walks around the corner the Prince of Verona. His name is Prince Aeschylus. Prince Aeschylus walks around the corner, sees the fight going on, and he says, stop. Everybody freezes. He says, guys, I'm not playing. Seriously, I'm through. I'm through. Quit trying to kill each other. All right, you know what? New rule. I'm sick of you Capulets and you Montagues. New rule. If y'all draw your swords on each other from here on out, tell your friends. Here on out, if you draw your swords, death penalty. That's how done I am with you. Death penalty. Done. Tell your friends. Prince Aeschylus leaves. The crowd breaks up. Everybody eventually filters away. In walks Romeo and his best friend Benvolio. Romeo and Benvolio Montague. Romeo is just crying his eyes out. Oh, it's the worst day of my life. I can't. And Benvolio's like, dude, seriously, stop. She's just a girl. Romeo says, no, but I love her. She's the light of my world. I can't stand it. And Benvolio says, dude, she doesn't even know you exist. Just stop. Girls are not worth this. Romeo's like, you've never been in love. I love her so much. Benvolio says, dude, look, you need to get your mind off her. She's not going to love you back. She's not going to love you back. Romeo says, but Rosalind, the most beautiful name of all time, Rosalind. Benvolio says, stop talking about Rosalind. Look, I got a good idea. Mercutio walks in the door. Hey, what's up, guys? Benvolio says, I got an idea. Mercutio, you, me, we're going to talk Romeo into going to a party tonight. Party. Mercutio's like, you had me at party. Let's go. Benvolio says, however, please note this party, it's in Capulet territory. In fact, it's at Daddy Capulet's house. Mercutio says, we can't go over there because, they're going to kill us because we're the bad guys from their point of view, and we can't go crash their party. Benvolio says, but we can. Because it's a masquerade ball. Mercutio's like, oh, a masquerade ball. Awesome. I'll bring the alcohol. Romeo's like, no, I just want to sit here on the street corner and cry about Rosalind and how beautiful she is and how And Benvolio says, hey, dude, I think Rosalind's going to be at the party. Romeo's like, let's go, party. That's Monday. Monday evening, the 3 hoodlums, they show up at Daddy Capulet's party Monday night. They are wearing masks. So is everybody in the room. They're wearing masks. They walk in the door. Romeo says, you know what? I'm going to go find Rosalind. I'm going to go find her. I'm going to go dance with her. I'm going to show her my love. Benvolio says, I'm just going to wander around here. Mercutio's like, I'm going to go spike the punch. They start walking around. Romeo does not find Rosalind. However, while he's looking around, he sees this not unattractive girl. I mean, everybody's wearing masks, but she's not unattractive. I mean, she's kind of cute. I mean, you could say she's pretty. All right, so she's hot, right? So Romeo comes up to this really hot girl and he's like, hey, dance? So this really attractive girl, whose name is Juliet, by the way, says, sure, I'll dance with you. And so they start dancing and they're talking to each other and they're telling some jokes. And dance number 2, now they're flirting a little bit. Dance number 3 and dance number 4. Now they're seriously flirting with each other. Now they're still wearing their masks. So they decide to take it outside and they're talking. And Juliet says, you know what? This has been great. I mean, you're so awesome. And Romeo's like, I'm telling you what, you are, I've loved this past half hour. It's so wonderful. And Juliet says, we should take off our masks. So Romeo's like, okay. So they both take off their masks. And Juliet's like, do I know you? Wait, are you a Montague? Are you a Montague? And Romeo's like, oh, wait, are you a Capulet? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is bad. We cannot talk to, this is, no. If our dads found out that we were talking, no. Meanwhile, back inside the party, Tybalt Capulet, Tybalt, looking through the window, sees Romeo because his mask is off. Tybalt's like, oh man, that's one of the bad guys. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kill him right here at the party. He starts walking towards Romeo, so about ready to pull out a sword. And Daddy Capulet sees Tybalt and says, hey, Tybalt, what's going on? Tybalt says, hey, Romeo Montague is at our party. And not only is that, he's talking to Juliet, your daughter. Daddy Capulet says, okay, first of all, not cool. Second of all, Tybalt, you can't kill him. You can't kill him right here because it's at the party. And 2, we know we've got the Prince Aeschylus said the whole thing about drawing swords and the death penalty. So, man, you can't go out there and kill him. However, if maybe tomorrow you just happen to catch him by himself, nobody's around, maybe. So Tybalt's like, all right. I'll catch him later. Now, Mercutio and Benvolio overhear Tybalt saying this. So they run outside and they grab Romeo and they're like, hey, we got to go. We've been exposed. We got to go. So the 3 of them leave. Well, the 2 of them leave carrying Romeo. And Romeo's like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to. They get back to the Montague side of town. Romeo starts to cry. Mercutio and Benvolio are like, dude, suck it up. Come on, man. I mean, Rosalind is not that cute. Romeo's like, but I love her. Seriously, Rosalind, you need to get over Rosalind. And Romeo says, who's Rosalind? I'm talking about Juliet. Mercutio says, wait, you're talking about Juliet Capulet? I thought you were in love with Rosalind. Romeo's like, Rosalind, pff, old news. I'm in love with Juliet. Mercutio's like, oh, that's funny because, if you ever told your dad or your mom that, they'd probably kill you. So no, you cannot date. Funny, you cannot date Juliet. Stop even thinking about that. Romeo's like, yeah, all right, you're right, it's stupid. Later that night, Romeo, by himself, sneaks back across to Daddy Capulet's house. The party's over, all the lights are out. Romeo sneaks around to the back of the house. It's still Monday night. He goes around to the back of the house. he's looking up and he sees several rooms up on the second floor, and he's thinking, man, which room is Juliet in? So you maybe throw a rock up there or something, but he doesn't have to. Now Romeo is down in the bushes like a stalker. He's down in the bushes looking up at the windows, and one of the big window doors opens out, and Juliet comes walking out onto a balcony. The famous, probably Shakespeare's most famous scene in all of his 33 plays or so, and the balcony scene. So there's a light back behind Juliet, a lantern or a torch at that point. And so Romeo says, now please note, Romeo's in the bush and he's really talking to himself. Juliet can't hear him. Romeo says, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet, the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who's la, 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 la. And so he's saying, look, it's the sun coming out. And so Juliet comes out, and she's just quiet. She's looking up at the stars. Romeo continues to talk to himself about how beautiful she is. At one point, girls, quit listening. Boys, I'm about to give you a line that's going to work on any girl. It goes like this. At one point, the girl, Juliet puts her head on her hands like this, and Romeo looks up and he says, her cheek, I'm paraphrasing, her cheek, so perfect, so soft, so lovely. If only I could be a glove on her hand that I might touch her cheek. That works on any girl. Boys, you better start writing this down. And right now the girls are like, woo! Is it hot in here or what? Anyway, so girls, you can start listening now. So she's up there doing this, and then she sighs. She's like, ah, me. And Romeo's like, oh, she speaks, speak again, bright angel. And then Juliet, again, she does not know that Romeo's down there in the bushes. And she speaks and she says, very famously, she says, oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father, or refuse thy name, or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. Which basically means, Romeo, where are you? If you can't change your last name, I'm changing my last name because I'm in love with you. And then she goes on and she says, a rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. So Romeo, anyway, the point is, again, depending on, just change your last name so we don't have to worry about Montague and Capulet. So she continues to talk, and at some point Romeo jumps out of the bushes and is like, hi. And of course she's like, stalker. No, that's not true. But he climbs up the trellis, and there's a little kissy. End of the first day. Tuesday morning, Romeo and Juliet agree to meet at the church. Friar Lawrence, the priest, Friar Lawrence meets them, and he's like, hey, what are you two doing here? You two are on opposite families. You cannot be here together. If your daddies found out that you two were in the same church at the same time, oh man. So y'all need to this is weird. And Romeo and Juliet go say to the priest, yes, we'd like to get married. We'd like to get married. Friar Lawrence is like, okay, first of all, you're pretty young, but second of all, no, I'm not going to marry you because, woo, can you imagine the trouble I would be in if I married a Montague and a Capulet together? Oh, your daddies would be so mad. I mean, just think about it. They would technically then be related, right? Father-in-laws, they would be related. Well, that's kind of an interesting idea. If I marry the two of you, then the two guys that hate each other will then be, okay, I'll marry you. So less than 18 hours after Romeo and Juliet are dancing on the floor for the very first time they've ever known each other, they are now married. Please note, Juliet's 13, Romeo's probably 14. Not that. The two of them, now that they're married, Juliet says, all right, I'm going to go back to my house. You go back to your house, get your stuff. You come over to my house. We'll tell my dad together. Romeo's like, good plan, good plan. I'll see you here in a couple of minutes. So Romeo leaves. Juliet goes back to her house. Romeo is going back across town. On his way across town, he runs into Tybalt Capulet. Tybalt says, hey, Romeo, guess what? There's nobody around. And guess what? I saw you last night crashing my party. So you better draw your sword now, because it's going to be awkward when I stick my sword into your chest. If you hadn't drawn your sword, because I'm be awkward. So at least give me a little bit of a fight, because I'm about to kill you. And Romeo says, Tybalt, I'd like to apologize for being at your party last night. Yes, that was our mistake, but there's something, it's kind of funny. There's something you should probably know, because Romeo is now technically related, right? Related to Tybalt. They are now cousins through marriage. Nobody knows this, that Romeo and Juliet are married, except for Romeo and Juliet and the priest. So he said, Tybalt, before we try to kill each other, funny thing. Tybalt says, I don't care. I'm going to stab you. Mercutio, ADHD, he walks up and he says, all right, what's going on? Tybalt says, well, after I kill Romeo, I'm going to kill you. Mercutio's like, probably not, because Romeo's really good with the sword. And yeah, I'm going to put money on him. And so Romeo, just go ahead and kill him. Tybalt's like, yeah, kill me. Romeo's like, stop talking, guys. I have something I have to tell you. Mercutio's like, well, if it's not, that you're going to kill him, then I don't want to hear it. And Romeo's like, no, seriously, it's something really important. And Mercutio's like, you know what? If you're just a chicken and you don't want to fight him, I'll fight him. You know what? So Mercutio pulls out his sword, and he and Tybalt start fighting. And Romeo's like, stop. And Tybalt kills Mercutio right there in front of Romeo. Romeo's like, well, now you've gone and done it. Oof. So Romeo pulls out his sword, and Romeo and Tybalt fight. And Romeo kills Tybalt. And as Romeo is pulling his sword out of Tybalt's now cold body, around the corner comes Prince Aeschylus. Romeo's sword with blood dripping off of it, 2 dead bodies on the ground. Prince Aeschylus is like, well, death penalty. I told y'all, death penalty. Romeo says, wait. So no, see, there were some circumstances out of my control. See, it was self-defense. It was self-defense. The prince is like, 2 dead bodies, you with the sword. Romeo's like, no, seriously, no, there's extenuating circumstances here. The prince says, well, you know what, Romeo? I like you. You've never been in trouble with me before, so I'm not going to give you the death penalty. But here's what I'm going to do. Get out. Get out. You have till sundown tonight. Pack your bags. Get out of Verona. You are excommunicated. You are exiled. If you come back into the city, I'm going to kill you myself. I don't ever want to see your face ever again. Bye-bye. Romeo says, well, okay, that's fair. Romeo goes back to Juliet. Juliet says, oh, husband, I've missed you these long 30 minutes. Oh, I so long for your kiss. And anyway, and Romeo's like, yeah. So how's your day been? Oh, no, I've just missed you so much. Did you go tell your dad? And Romeo's like, funny thing happened on the way to my dad's house. So I killed your favorite cousin, and I've been exiled from the city. I have to leave by sundown, and I can never come back. How's your day going? So Juliet and so they're crying and they're talking about, oh, it's not fair and love is awful, and then there's some kissy and okay, moving on. Romeo leaves. Like, he leaves. Tuesday evening, we're still on Tuesday evening, Juliet, she's sitting there at the table with her dad having dinner. Now, she hasn't said anything about any of this, so dad doesn't know. So Juliet, obviously despondent, obviously very upset. Juliet, who I was about to use the word pining for Romeo, but I don't want to use really big words. So No, he is. So she's pining away for her husband, very, very, very much Twitter-pated, and so very despondent, very, very sad, very sad. And her dad's like, honey, why are you okay? Why are you so sad? And so Juliet's like, well, Dad, I'm just having a bad day. You know, boy problems, you know. And her dad's like, you know what? I'm going to fix your boy problems. So, surprise! Last night at the masquerade ball that we had, I met Prince Paris. Prince Paris, he's a little older than you, quite a bit older than you, but he's looking to get married. And so he noticed you, and he talked to me for a little bit. And sure enough, I really like him. And so I went ahead and promised your hand in marriage to him. Also, while I'm thinking about it, we've got because he's coming in from town, he's got to go back to his place. So the wedding's going to be on Saturday, like this Saturday. Juliet's like, no, no, I'm not getting married to a stranger that I don't know. And her dad's like, no, but he's a really good match. I mean, you'd make the perfect wife. And Juliet's like, no, I don't want to get married this weekend. And her dad's like, yeah, you're right. That's way too far off. Let's get married on Thursday. So we're going to have the wedding on Thursday. Juliet goes up to bed. Wednesday morning, Juliet confesses everything to her nurse. It's kind of like the nanny. Confesses everything to her nurse, and the nurse is like, oh yeah, this is bad. So what should we do? The nurse says, well, let's go ask the priest. So they go to Friar Lawrence. They tell Friar Lawrence what's going on. Friar Lawrence is like, whoa, Juliet, you can't get married to Prince Paris because you're already married to Romeo. And Juliet's like, I know, this is why I'm coming to you. I know this. So Friar Lawrence is like, okay, well, we got to come up with a plan. Give me a second. So he comes up with a plan. They go to the apothecary. Oop, there's a big word for you. Apothecary, which means pharmacist. So go to the apothecary, and the apothecary gives the priest a special type of poison. The priest then talks to the nurse and Juliet and says, all right, here's the plan. It's everybody sitting down. Here we go. Juliet, you're going to take this poison. It's going to mostly kill you. Your heart rate's going to drop way down. Your breathing is going to slow way down. And for all practical intents and purposes, you're going to be dead. But you're not going to be dead because this poison is going to knock you out for 2 and 40 hours. Yeah, I'm not even making that up. That's what it says. 2 and 40 hours. So once you're dead, then we will have a quick funeral for you, and then I'll take your body outside the gates, and then you can wake up in Romeo's arms, and you can ride off on the horses into the sunset, and we'll all live happily ever after, and nobody will be the wiser. And Juliet says, that's the stupidest plan I've ever heard of. Let's do it. So Wednesday night, Juliet is sitting at the table with her dad, and Prince Paris. And Prince Paris is like, I am so glad that you decided to move the wedding up to tomorrow. I cannot wait to marry you, Juliet. Juliet's like, yep, can't wait to marry you either, buddy. So Juliet says, well, I'm tired. I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed. Big day tomorrow, Dad. And her dad's like, all right, good night, honey. Juliet goes upstairs. There's the nurse. The nurse has the poison. The nurse is like, are you sure we're going to do this? Juliet's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's pull the trigger. So Juliet takes the poison, swigs it down. The nurse counts to 3 real slow, like 1001, 1002, 1003. And then she screams. Daddy Capulet, Mama Capulet, Prince Paris, they all run up the stairs. And there's Juliet dead on the floor. Somebody call a priest. Turns out Friar Lawrence just happens to be in the area. Friar Lawrence runs up the steps. He goes in, checks her pulse. Yep, she did. So everybody's crying, and Daddy Capulet says, well, you know, the good news is that all the family was coming in for the wedding. So I mean, now we don't have to call them back for the funeral because we'll just have the funeral at the same time we were going to have the wedding and see it all works out. And that's the end of Wednesday. Thursday morning, the funeral. Juliet lying there, mostly dead. In the mausoleum, on the crypt, lying there, right? Friar Lawrence standing very close to her, making sure that she's not waking up. They have the funeral. Now, one part of the plan was that Friar Lawrence gave a note to his buddy, as Friar John. This note was supposed to be given to Romeo. Basically said, hey, Romeo, here's the plan. We're bringing her to you. Be ready. Romeo never got the note. He never got the note. So the funeral was in the morning. Around noon, people are leaving the town. And as they're leaving through the gates, they're talking about, oh, it's so sad. She was so young, so tragic. And Romeo's like, hey, who died? And of course, they're like, oh, Juliet, Juliet Capulet. And Romeo's like, whoa, Juliet Capulet died? What happened? Oh, she poisoned herself and she's dead. And it's just so tragic. And so Romeo's like, I'm not. So he breaks back into the city, back into town, and he goes to the apothecary, where he gets real poison, because apparently the apothecary is just giving poison out to everybody. I don't know. So he gets real poison. Romeo goes to the cemetery, goes to the mausoleum. The funeral's been over for a couple of hours now. He goes to the mausoleum, and there's Juliet's cold, dead body on the crypt. Romeo has no idea that she's only mostly dead. Romeo comes up to her. She's very cold. He grabs her hand and he does the platitudes. Oh, I love you. You killed yourself for me, and it's very sad. No, I love you so much. And don't worry, I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to avenge you. And in walks Prince Paris. Prince Paris says, "Hey, buddy, I don't know who you are, but you need to let go of my dead fiance's hand." And Romeo's like, I'm not letting go of your dead fiance's hand because she's my dead wife. And it's my dead wife's hand, not your dead fiance. And Paris is like, well, who are you? Romeo's like, well, who are you? And they both draw swords because, that's what we do. So they draw swords, and Romeo kills Prince Paris right there in the mausoleum. Romeo then says, well, now I've gone and done it. This is bad, but don't worry, Juliet, I'm coming. I'll be there soon. And so Romeo takes the real poison and he swigs it down, and then he falls over on her legs. So he's dead, like for real dead. He falls over down on her legs. When he falls on her legs, it jostles her enough for her to wake up. So she wakes up, she's groggy, she sits up and she's like, whoa, I thought, Romeo, this is weird. Why are you here, Romeo? I'm supposed to go outside the city. I was going to meet you out there. Romeo, why are you? Get off my legs, Romeo. You're heavy. Get off. Romeo, move. Romeo, get up. Juliet sees the canister of poison, the vial of poison, and she quickly does the math. She starts to cry. Friar Lawrence comes running in. He's like, okay, we're going to, whoa, what's going on here? Dead guy on the floor. Romeo's dead. All right, nobody move. Friar Lawrence leaves. Juliet, she's looking around. She's doing the math. She's like, oh my goodness, you thought I killed myself for you, and then you really did kill yourself for me. So I have no option but to kill myself for you for real. So she's like, well, I'll just take the poison. So she takes the vial of poison that Romeo used and swigs up, but there's not enough. So she's like, okay, well, I'll just lick the poison off your lips, off, dead Romeo's lips. Still not enough to kill her. So she's like, well, I'll just do this the easy way. Then she pulls the dagger out of his belt, the short sword, right, long knife, and right there in the heart, she falls over dead. For real. Friar Lawrence from running in, he goes, all right, nobody, would people quit dying? And he runs off. 30 minutes later, he brings in Daddy Capulet, Daddy Montague, Prince Aeschylus, and the mamas. And they all show up. They see the three people dead. Prince Paris, Romeo, and Juliet, they're all dead. Friar Lawrence says, all right, let me tell you the story. So he tells the story. Father Cap or Daddy Capulet and Daddy Montague, they start arguing with each other. Well, your daughter is a tramp, and she came onto my boy. Oh, well, your boy's the one who, and so they're just yelling at each other. And the prince finally says, guys, stop. Do you not see this? These two fell in love with each other, and they couldn't tell you guys because of your hatred. New rule. You guys like each other. Shake hands. Look at the prologue. Two households, both alike in dignity, the Capulets and the Montagues. In fair Verona, where we lay our scene, from ancient grudge, they've hated each other for a long time, break to new mutiny, a new level of fighting, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. Blood on your hands makes you evil. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, so that you're having kids, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. So the idea of being born under a different astrology sign, or conversely across the tracks from each other in the town, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. They commit suicide, whose misadventured piteous overthrows, so we're talking about all the different things that went wrong, do with their death bury their parents' strife. Strife means their anger. So when they died, their parents had to finally shake hands. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove. So that's saying these dads and these moms have hated each other for so long, the only way that they could stop hating each other is by the death of their children. Not could remove is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage. So see, he literally, and I'm using that word properly, he literally told us the plot of the play in the prologue. And then again, the last two lines, the which if you with patient ears attend, meaning you're listening, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. So if you don't catch it the first time, if you watch us on the stage, you'll catch it. The end.